right, hi students, welcome back. I hope you had a really wonderful and relaxing spring break. Mine was not great actually. So my son did very well at diving. He won the Ohio Athletic Conference diving meet, and it was named Diver of the Year for the third year in a row, so we were really proud of him. He went on to regionals. He did pretty good at regionals this year, so that was wonderful. But in the meantime, my mother started developing coronary artery disease and was becoming ischemic, hypoxic, and she ended up having a stress test and a cath, found out that she has mitral valve prolapse and 3-vessel disease, ended up having to have cabbage. She's in the ICU. She had a stroke, so she's still in the ICU. She had surgery on Monday, so I spent pretty much my whole spring break in the ICU with her. She's still there. She's doing better. She's not having a ton of deficits from her stroke, and it's getting better every day, so we're grateful for that. Which brings me to my next point is we are now in week 10. And this week we are going to talk about spirituality, which is a really big thing to think about as a healthcare provider, is the spirituality of your patients. As you've probably noticed being in the hospital, most hospitals now will have a chaplain, and they'll come around and say, would you like a pastor or somebody to pray with you or something like that. It's really important to be cognizant of people's spirituality, especially because spiritual things really come to light when people are ill, especially when they're gravely ill or they're facing surgery or cancer or something like that. It's important to find out what is your patient's, what's their faith, what is their spiritual component. Everybody has a spiritual component to them, and it's just different for everybody, and with different faiths, what that looks like. Some people believe in positive energy, and that God is all around us in positive energy. Other people believe in like Buddha or the God of Israel or something like that. Other people are atheists and don't think that there is a God at all. So it's important to understand, and also within that, those frameworks where people come from, it's easy to offend somebody and not know it. One of the other classes that I teach is, I teach clinical nurse specialist, the graduate program at Detroit Mercy. And one of my students just recently did a project, or one of her care plans was on, she was caring for a Muslim patient, and most of the caregivers were non-Muslims, and the wife of the patient, who was gravely ill, wanted full court press, and apparently within her spiritual belief system, it's incorrigible to even think about withdrawing treatment or not being aggressive, and certainly not things like organ donations and stuff like that. So it's really important to understand where your patient is coming from. Do they believe in the power of prayer? Do they believe in something else like alternative therapies or Reiki healing, or there's all kinds of things like that is important to explore and find out with your patients, and to at least be cognizant of that. So this week there's a lot of really good readings. We are in week 10. Now here's the deal. So there's some really good readings in here on spirituality, spiritual self-care, things like that. So I want you to read them. I want you, when you guys are doing your final presentations, which should start this week, and I will start working on them this week and next, include things like that. Include things like a spiritual component. When you're doing your final presentations, you should be including every element of stuff that we've talked about through the semester. So here's where I screwed up, which is actually a benefit to you guys. If you'll notice in week 10, there is a spirituality self-care assessment link in there. If you go up and first read the articles and then click on that link that's there. It's not really a quiz. It's just sort of like a self-assessment. It's kind of neat. Here's the thing. I forgot to include it in the grade book, and I forgot to include it in the syllabus. So, but it's here in week 10. So, this is totally optional. So if you have time and you want to do that this week, it's great. I think it'll help you in your practice. But if you guys are dying and swamped with other things and you don't have time to do this, you get a pass this week. So what I would like you to do is start working on your projects, and then because next week then we start. You guys will start presenting your projects. Let me talk a little bit about that final presentation that you guys are doing. I want you all to do some audio voiceovers. Next week is we're going to look at like the global burden of disease and stuff like that. And then that's when I want you to incorporate that. So if you want to move ahead and start learning a little bit about the global burden of disease, you can do that. And then we'll start uploading your final presentation. So in that presentation, in your opening slide, everybody should be mentioned on there. If you want to upload a photo of yourself, that would be cool. But when you're doing a PowerPoint presentation, there's a little button where you can insert an audio file. And so I want each of you to, because it's a group project, to talk about your slide or the portion that you're doing. There should be more than one slide of you talking. So I don't want to just, this is Molly McClelland and do blah, 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 one slide. And then the next slide, this is, Jane Doe, blah, blah, blah. This is John, whatever. It needs to be interactive. So maybe a couple different slides that you would talk about, that you would take lead on. So that's what I'm looking for in the final presentation that you guys will do for next week. So that's it for this week. Kind of skim through some of that stuff on spirituality. Think about it. If you have time to do that assessment, great. But like I said, if you don't get time to do that, it's, the link is there if you want to upload it. I'll see that you did it, but again, it's not in the grade book and it's not in the syllabus, so totally optional this week. So hope that helps. If you need anything, give me a holler. And that's it. Okay. I will be in touch. We'll talk to you guys soon.